Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dive Jump, where we jump into diving. Today, Mr. Hammer, we're going to talk about something a little dark. We're going to talk about dive accidents, but last time we talked about dive accidents, we talked about I talked about the small accidents and accidents that can happen in general. Today, we're going to talk about accidents that we have personally been part of or participated in the recoveries or things like that, which is a little bit dark and it's a little bit hard. This isn't meant to be a glory story, right? Look at me, how great I am. This is more like, look, you have a huge amount of experience in this. I have a little bit of experience, a lot less than you do in this. So I think this is more so people could learn from your experience rather than like, let me tell you a crazy story kind of thing. Okay? What do you think of that?
Okay, cool.
So look, I mean, we all know about big accidents that happen, the big death ones. Um, And I think there's a few of them. So let's start with ones where someone didn't die.
Okay, I have a good one for you.
Go for it.
Okay, when I was a dive center manager in Tel Aviv, I had an instructor that took his students for the fourth day of the open water course, and they went down from a boat, and he had six students, and he needed to do emergency ascent uh, practice with them. And he was at about 8 meters depth, and he did, I think, maybe 20 times going up and down from 8 meters to the surface with them. Sometimes they threw away their weight belt, so it was fast ascending. And he did that like for 30 minutes, up and down. And then when they finished the dive after 40 minutes, he couldn't go on the boat. His hand could not lift himself on the ladder, and they had him go up, and he came back to the dive center and try to understand what's wrong with him. He was disabled with his hand, and after I understood what happened in the dive, and that he went up and down too fast, too many times, didn't drink enough water that day, didn't do safety sub properly after all these up and downs. And we took him to the hospital, and he had type 2 decompression from up and down from 8 meters. He already had bubbles in the joint that he couldn't lift his hand. And
Wow.
he had 10 days in the chamber to going in and out. It cost
10
about,
days.
yeah, he went in and out from the chamber to treat him for 10 days, and it cost around $40,000 to the insurance. And it wasn't deep, and it wasn't over time. It was a stupid uh, behavior of him because he thought that he's a Superman, he's a diving instructor. He can go up and down, and will not have any problem with that. And he had immediate problem. At the end of this dive, he already had the bubbles in the joint, and he needed to go to the hospital and get treated for a week and a half. This is a dive accident. He's okay. He was treated.
Does he
He
dive
came
again?
back. He dived again. He came back to. He was the technician in the dive center, so he went back to work, but he couldn't dive for 3 months. And then he went back to dive, and he was okay. But this was a serious decompression from bullshit behavior, from
So I
nothing,
have
from
a
no
I
depth.
have a I have a story. I think you've heard this story before. People, I don't like talking about it because it is I need to say this. This is the one time, basically almost one time in diving ever that I absolutely panicked. Panicked, and I
Okay.
mean like, the eyes go like this in the mask. You're like, "Ah." This was my face. like this.
Okay.
Okay. So boat dive Eilat. Beautiful visibility. The temperature is unbelievable, right? You know, gorgeous day. We went to the Japanese gardens on the boat. We come up the line. It's nothing. I mean, I think the deep there is like 30 meters, I think that we do. 25 meters, I think that we
Yeah.
do for like, and then we do the second dive, we go to like 15 or not even that. I think it's like 7 or 8.
It's a wall dive, so you can choose your depth.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's a very the gentlest of dives, right? There's almost no current, beautiful visibility. The temperature is usually good, and you do it from a boat. Um, so we come up, and it was one of the first times I think I was still a dive master, and one of the first times. Oh no, I was an instructor. I was just a brand new instructor, and it was the first or second time that I've done like a guided dive to that place. I was super excited. It's a beautiful place. We come up the line, and I have 6 or 8 people in front of me, and I'm like, all right, everybody, inflate your BCD. Let's go up up the ladder one by one. And I'm giving like the whole briefing of like, be careful from the ladder so someone doesn't fall on you, right? And everyone is super excited and they're talking blah 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 blah. And I happen to see this this woman, young woman, who was diving with us, and she was talking excitedly at the surface, and she just goes bloop, 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 and she's gone. The whole time that we were like, moving people up the ladder, she didn't actually have an inflated BCD. She thought she did, but she didn't. And she was a little bit overweighted, which happens with newer divers. And she just got exhausted from going like this, fins the whole time. And I remember seeing her head just clear the water like this. And I went, grabbed her inflator, and I was like panicked. I was like, I almost saw her die. Like if I didn't notice it, she like she was going, like she was exhausted. She had stopped talking. I didn't notice that her BCD wasn't actually inflated. You're at the surface, you can't really see everything. Look, I'm giving a lot of excuses. The reality is I almost saw her just go down, and I grabbed her, and my eyes, I was in a panic when I grabbed it. I was in a panic, I can tell you. It was 30 seconds of my life, but I almost saw her die in front. Like I knew what was happening. I recognized what happened immediately, but I was like, how could I let this happen? How could I let a diver like almost, it almost happened, right? And it was, after the dive. And look, I, as a young instructor, I didn't debrief it quite as well as I should have. I was still like, in shock, I think. And then, we did the second dive and everything was fine, but it changed something in the way that I do things nowadays, for sure.
Okay.
So
Okay. I have a story about the something I call the choreography, like in dancing when you have a
choreography,
dance.
yes.
So you write the dance, what you're gonna do. So there's a choreography of something that divers do when they feel that they had enough. If I'm in 20 or 15 meters deep and I'm a young diver and I don't know, I have water in my mask and I can't take it off and I take the water up from my nose and I feel that I can't breathe. The second that I decided I have to go to the surface, panically, I don't care anything. I need to be on the surface to live, to survive. The choreography is underwater at 15 meters. You see the diver take the hand, put it on his mask, take the regular, and take it off underwater. And I'm gonna die here because I'm stupid. And this is the choreography. Take it off. So I have a story about a student, a young woman, that her uncle came to visit her during the course. It was the last day of the open water. We were on the way to 18 meters deep, and he wanted to treat her, and he gave her his mask, his private mask. So she don't need to use the dive center mask. It's his mask. She had this. face, and this was the mask. Okay, and I didn't know that she'd done that. She went into the water regularly, put the mask, everything was okay, and the mask is sitting on like on the lip and on the hair, and it's like this on her face. And we start diving, and I had the dive master that was behind the student, so he can help if somebody needs help. And at one point, everybody is swimming, buoyant in the water. We're in the blue water, and she's stopping behind. She's not swimming with the rest. And I'm telling her, come to me. And she's not responding. And there is a dive master behind her. And I told her, do you have a problem with your ears or something? Because, a lot of times people feel earache and they don't respond. They try to take care of the problem themselves, and they don't control the buoyancy very well. So it's really painful, and they're going down. It's more painful. And so I thought maybe you have a problem, like buoyant yourself. Do take care of your buoyancy. That's what I thought. And I asked the dive master, go and be with her and take over her problem. I don't know. She's not responsive. And I told everybody to come to me, but I didn't get. I just told them, do the Buddha. Let's do buoyancy in place. And I looked at them, and I saw that he's trying to take care of the buoyancy, and he's looking at her, and I saw that she's not responsive to him. And I started to swim towards them. They were like 7 or 8 meters from me. Started to swim towards them, and I saw that he's not. The diameter was not very. How do I say? He didn't notice that mm, the buoyancy of them together is not very good, and they're going down a little bit, and she's not equalizing. So I was not happy about it because I thought now probably it's hurtful for her. And then I was 3 meters from them. I saw the choreography coming. I saw that she's going for it. She's trying to go to the surface. That's it. She had enough. She felt that if she stays here, she's gonna die. And I got to her at the second she took off everything. And I pushed in and I hold her. She started to swim to the
Yeah,
surface.
yeah. The panic swim to the surface.
And
Climbing the ladder.
held.
I call it climbing the ladder.
Yeah. So I held, and she was, she can take off my mask, and she's crazy. I hold the BC, the BCD. I take the regulator, I put it in her mouth, and I press the push button. And with these two fingers, I close her nose, and I just push it, just throw air into her mouth, and close with my legs her legs, so she cannot swim, and deflate a little bit of my BCD. So I'm holding here like this, and with the BC, she cannot swim to the surface, and only with her hands, like crazy, she take us up a little bit, slowly, 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 both of us, at the slowly, and for me, it's secure. Now you're going up to the surface from 15 meters to the surface at 10 meters per minute with your hands, take both of us and get air into her face. When she got to the surface, she wanted to kill me. I hold her. She's trying to save herself to go to the surface, and I held her, and she fought me and everything. And the second we got to the surface, I inflated her BC. I took everything off her, the mask, the regulator, turn her around, straighten my
Yeah.
hand with
With the
her
tank in your
regulator.
hand.
So she's lying on her back. She cannot reach to me. And I tell her now, very slowly, every time it's like the shit happens, and it's like, you know, your heart is beating, and she could have killed herself. And it's really intense. And I have a dive master with 5 students downstairs down at 15 meters, and I'm with her on the surface. And she was not ready to go down back after that happened to her. So I'm talking to her really calmly. Breathe, take out air, take in air, calm down, and lie down. You're okay, you're inflated. And then I take my eyes down, and I tell the dive master, bring everybody to safety stop under me. and we got out and everything was okay. But this thing could have finished if I didn't see that it's going to happen and be there and let the dive master keep going. She would have fly up to the surface very fast with no mask and regulator in her mouth, and probably would stop her breathing and rip her lungs from 15 meters.
Yep.
And I don't know if she would have got to the surface, because 15 meters for her, when she's feeling that she doesn't have air, she could have fainted underwater on the way up. Uh, so this was very serious dive accident that was prevented, and this is things that dive instructors see all the time. People that go into the water every day,
Every
once a month, they will save somebody like this.
every open water diver, open water instructor, including myself, have had this. I think that we both know that there was also an incident where a dive master class had this as well. Someone, I think, who was in the dive master class who tried to jump up from, like, I don't know, 8 meters or something like that during one of the exercises or things like that. Um, I don't. I mean, I've had that happen 3 times at least. I had it once happen at the deep dive in the Paradise in Eilat, which is beyond the Satil a little bit. I think it's 26 meters, 27, I want to say. And I and I
Uh,
and like you, I could see it happen, and I don't remember who it was, but at the time we had we always had two instructors for that dive. We had one instructor was teaching the class and a person who was auditing, or, like, is to make sure that everything is, that the course, that the students actually look good. You don't want to
okay.
graduate students. It's more to test the instructor than to test the students. And I'm sitting, and I'm going on my back, and I'm like, everything's okay. And then I see it happening, and the person who was behind, I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Ghoul, because that's usually who it was, but I don't think it was that day. And I go like, and I'm like, look at that guy, because he was right next to him, and he looks, and I could see the whole thing happening, and I was like already like switching to my belly and trying to go to the person, and they had him, and I was like, okay, and it's exactly as you described. Something happened. I guess they were fiddling with their gear and something they were doing, and a little bit of water goes up. They move the mask a little water goes up the nose, and he caught it. He caught it as they were like still, and he just came in, regulator in the mouth, like this, like around their head, pinch the nose like this, give them an okay signal. He was breathing, kept the nose, and he's like, and came around, like, hey, can you see? Do this. And it came out, and the person kept like coughing into the regulator, and nothing happened. I mean, the whole thing, everything that I'm describing here was 10 seconds.
Well,
10 seconds.
you had
The
a
whole
very
event.
experienced instructor as your dive master.
Exactly,
So
exactly, exactly.
this
No, no, of
this
course.
is a very good situation that you can tell the guy, listen, help me, and you get somebody very
In the
professional to help you.
it took me as I saw it, because they can't see the faces of because they're diving towards me. He's behind and above, so he can't really see their faces. I saw it happen, and I was like, and he looked at me, and we worked really well as a team that day. He was paying attention to me, and he was looking at like everything, so he could easily see me doing this, and I was on the way to the person. Like, I was already there, and he beat me by like a couple seconds. But the entire event, from the moment that I saw it until the moment that the person was, breathing okay, and he was coughing a little bit into the regulator, but he was okay. The whole thing is maybe 8, 9 seconds, and it could have ended, you know, 26 meters. It could have ended completely different, right? Much, much worse. I want to talk
Yeah.
about another event. This event is actually very special for all divers in Israel. This is the event that created the law. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. This is the event that created the law that says that all open water um, courses in Israel must be at least 5 days.
Okay.
Do you know the event I'm talking about?
I will probably know it when you tell it, but
I won't say the name of the well, actually it's public, so I can't say the name. It was Lucky Divers.
okay.
The instructor, I will tell you now that the instructor got his license removed after this event, but it wasn't entirely his fault. A student came, they did the open water in Thailand. So this was a big deal back in those days. And again, we're going back many, many years, but that's one of there were two events pretty much I think in the same couple of weeks where similar thing. Big trip after the military, after the army, goes to Thailand, does an open water in a day and a half, um, and comes to Israel after months of not diving and does a refresh, doesn't really do well on the refresh, does okay. And then they say, okay, go on a guided dive. You can't dive on your own, but go on a guide. You can go on a guided, right? And so do you know what happened? What I'm talking about this one?
I think that the guy got to the surface and ripped his lungs, right? This is
I
the story?
think that there's two stories. One of them
From 20
is
meters, something like that? From
on the
20
way
meters
down
up to the
to
surface.
on the way down to the Satil and to the missile boat. There's a slope. On the slope, they kind of fell behind. The visibility that day wasn't the clear blue water that we're used to in the Red Sea. It was slightly murky, and by slightly murky, I mean it's still 30, 40 feet of visibility, right? Which for Eilat is awful, right?
Yes. Well,
Um,
20 is awful. 30 is
okay,
good.
so it's 30, 40 feet of visibility. Okay. So it's like 10,
Okay.
15 meters of visibility. Um, and then he was severely overweight. And I'm sorry, had too much weight on him. Not like that he was fat, but
Yeah.
severely, like had way too much weight on him.
Too many weights.
Too many weights. Didn't know how to ditch his weights correctly. Didn't know how to operate. It didn't have good buoyancy at all. And he basically, as they were swimming down, he stopped swimming for a second and he crashed on the bottom.
Okay. And he
Uh,
felt his ears.
and his ears hurt a lot. And when you have someone who his ear is hurting, this is what it looks like to us, right? You hold your nose, they go like this, and they're completely closed. The rest of the world doesn't work. And they don't do anything to change their buoyancy. They don't do anything to change their situation. They just are like this, and they could stay like this for minutes. You've seen this, right? I mean, we've all seen this.
And you see
Um,
them sinking,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you try to make them, if you don't want it to hurt, control your buoyancy.
No, no, they can't see you. They're not there. They're not there.
Yeah.
Their whole entire life is right here in the ear, and all they're doing is like this.
Very painful. Yes.
They're like this, and they don't recognize the fact that they just all they need to do is go 1 meter up. That's it. That's all it takes. Um, and so he crashed on the bottom, from what I understand, and then once he touched the bottom and started kicking up some sand, he his ear hurt, and he just went straight to the surface, tension pneumothorax. I don't think he actually made the surface. He never actually made it to the surface. Um, I think that somewhere around 3, 4, 5 meters, he burst his lung and started falling down again. Um, and the instructor just kept on doing the guided dive. Didn't even recognize that
Notice
there,
that the guy disappeared.
didn't even know that there was a guy missing.
Is that the situation that the weight belt was open but on his leg?
I don't remember if there's two of them. There's two of them. I think this was the other one. The other one was where he
So
tried to get.
he had a problem with his ears, fell to down, and then flied up, probably inflated his BCD or tried to swim to the surface, and then when he got to the surface, he didn't have his BCD inflated, and he sank down because
I
he
don't think he
lost his.
inflated his BCD. I think what happened is that he was
He
doing
swam to the
this.
surface.
He was doing this. He kept going down. His ear didn't clear. His ear didn't clear. At some point, the pain was so hard that my guess is that he just threw away his regulator and he did what you like to call the
Choreography.
choreography. So he did this, and then he started going to the surface, climbing the ladder to the surface, and he probably stopped breathing. So he didn't breathe out the air that was expanding in his lung, and then he sank back down as soon as your lung starts tearing, it's incredible pain, and he went down, and they found him on the slope, like um, some. I think there was an instructor who was going down with doing a refresh, and they swim along that area, that shallow area
And
under
he saw
the
him on the ground.
yeah, because they go in, they do the mask and stuff, and then they swim along the village beach. They just swim south or north or whatever, for like 10 minutes to do the refresh, to do the buoyancy. And he saw him on the ground and brought him back up. And paramedics, blah blah blah. He was already dead when he reached the surface, and it was just I don't know. I speculate. We don't really know. The thing is, he was alone
Yeah,
when it happened, and
but his instructor just kept going and didn't notice that he had one person missing.
there
This
were
is
several things
the
wrong with it.
serious issues there.
I mean,
But
look,
do you know what is the chance if you rip your lungs? What is your chance to survive?
no idea.
3%. If you ripped both of your lungs and they take care of you quickly, you have 3% chance to live.
We
Do
teach
you wanna
we
do you
teach in
wanna hear
rescue
about
class.
yeah, do you wanna hear about the my student that ripped his lungs and survived?
Well,
3% in
we
his
teach
chance.
we teach in rescue class that when you go up and you're right here, right, you're what do you call this? The jugular, this thing, where you breathe from. This guy, if it's leaning towards one side or another, it means that only one lung is working. So you can't see that shit with the suit
Yeah.
and everything. And we teach about, like, blood coming out and all of that, like symptoms of it. But I've never heard of someone who came up with
Okay,
tension pneumothorax and actually survived it.
so let me tell you a story. I have the student. Again, this is important for people to understand that it's not only jumping from 20, 30 meters to the surface
No,
and
no,
you rip your lungs. Basically, you
pneumothorax
will
can
rip
happen
your
from
lungs.
5 meters. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
the most different of the pressure is the shallow water. So you will rip your lungs at the last few meters when you get to the surface. If you
Yes,
jump fast from 30 meters to 15 meters, probably you will not rip your lungs because it's not your lungs have some flexibility.
it's
But if
called
you're
the
going up
pressure
from
differential. The
yeah, but if
pressure
you go from
differential.
5 meters, go to from 5 meters to 10, it's basically almost the same from going from
Yes,
30 to 10.
yes.
So I had a guy we dove at 7 meters deep, and he lost his buoyancy. A lot of time it happens to students that get to the surface. You tell them go down, take out air. You tell them things, but you try to let them take care of it by themselves. But if it's at the third, fourth, fifth day of the course, you don't jump and stop them. You let them fly
Yeah,
slowly to
so
the surface.
because usually what happens is they're swimming, they're still breathing. They slowly get up, and you're looking at them like, you put your hands to
Yeah.
the sky, and you're like, "What are you doing up there?" And they don't even notice
Sometimes,
that they're so high
yeah.
up there.
Sometimes if you're feeling okay with it, you tell me you're stupid. Get down, stupid. But
I just go
but
like this.
anyway,
What are you
yeah.
doing? What are you doing up there?
Come on, I'm working here. Stay with me. So he was above us, and I told him go down. He had some issues with his, but he was buoyant pretty good, and he took care of his equalizing pressure, and he was like 2 meters above me, and I was at 7 meters, and then I saw he started going up because he didn't deflate enough from his BCD, and he went to the surface, and I told him, come on, come down, and he came down, and then he started to tell me that he don't feel well. He only went up from 5 meters to the surface slowly, uh, and he got to the surface and he went back down and he was diving. But in the dive, he told me, I have a problem. I'm not feeling well. I need to go up. And then I told dive master, hey, take him up. Don't feel well. And he took him out of the water, and I was diving with the guys another 20 minutes in the water and getting it out. And when I came back out of the water, I see this student sitting down, drinking water with his suit on. How are you feeling? I'm okay. I didn't feel well. And I asked him, the ears, anything? No, he said no. And I saw that he's pale. And 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 I told him, are you sure you're okay? He told me, yes, yes, I'm okay. It was the end of the dive. It was the last dive of the day. So he was very calm. He was getting ready to took a shower, dressed. We finished the day. We signed everything we need to sign. And I saw that he's okay. He's calmed down and he went away. And I said, okay, it's a normal thing to happen. He was in the course with his friend and they were funny guys. And he was like a tall guy. You know that there are people that can get spontaneous pneumothorax by walking in the street.
Yeah, yeah,
Usually it's very skinny guys and long. Like tall people, very skinny. Sometimes they have pneumothorax from nothing. It's something that happened. Anyway, this guy was tall. He wasn't that skinny, but he was fitting the type. And he really didn't stop his breathing or something. And they went away. And the evening time, his friend told him, "Hey, let's go to for dinner." And he told him, "I'm not hungry." And this is a guy that eat 2 pounds of
of course.
meat. Yeah. So the second his friend was smart, the second this guy that was a little pale and walking slowly, getting tired from going up the stairs, and he's okay. He's a young guy. He's like 30 something. So second he told him, "I'm not hungry." He took him to the hospital. And
And
in
they
the
checked him.
hospital, they checked him, and one of his lungs collapsed. He had pneumothorax of one lung, and that's it. He
Unbelievable.
never dove. He never dove again. I went to the hospital to see him. It was big deal, and I got a student that had pneumothorax from nothing. From nothing, from going slowly from 5 meters, 6 meters to the surface, going back. Everything looked okay after the dive. I was talking to him. I was waiting to see him the next day, and his smart friend didn't let him go to sleep with one lung collapsed. Basically, he had only one lung giving him oxygen for a few hours. And then I saw that he had a valve. I went to the hospital. He needed to take out air from between the lung and the body, the ribs. So I had a student that had a lot of luck and only one of his lungs ripped, and he went to the doctor. He never dove again. It was very sad about it, but he survived, and it was
That's
a very lucky story.
that is that is crazy, man.
I have
You
some
know,
good stories, man.
yeah. I mean, I saw so I think that one of the stories that a lot of people talk about and look at and has been discussed 1,000 times is there's two of them that I think have been discussed a lot is Dave Shaw and Youri Lipski.
Okay,
So, and I think it's because both of them were very deep and they both had cameras to document their own kind
I'm
of.
talking about the blue hole
One of
in
them is the
Egypt.
Blue Hole, is the guy is an instructor and I think he checked his the first time he checked his computer was at 81 meters. And there was another guy, his name is Dave Shaw. It was in a cave dive in Bosmansgat in South Africa. It's a very deep, it's I think 297 meters. But the thing is that he was on a breather, and I think they are very famous because they happened in the 90s when not a lot of cameras, not a lot of people had cameras in the water, and or not it wasn't common to go diving with a camera like it is today with like a GoPro. Practically anyone can grab a GoPro, and they were like big deal back then. But there's a lot of small incidents that happen every day that dive instructors see that do these kind of. If I wasn't there, you are dead. Like the person is dead. or the person is severely limited in life. And look, story for one more, and this one is this one is from my dive master days. I was a dive master in the Mediterranean. We go out on a boat dive, and you know how the currents, as soon as you let go of the rope, of the anchor line, the current will take you under the boat, right? Because that's how it goes, the anchor line and then the boat. And so I was a dive master, and the boat is big. I don't know if you know this. If you've been on a boat before. It's big. It's even bigger than you. As big as you are, the boat
A
is
little
really
bit
big,
bigger.
and it weighs a lot. And it can, and if you are looking down, you don't see the boat that is up,
And
and
it's moving.
so
It's
it's
moving
moving
in the
up and down.
waves.
And you do not want to take that entire boat into your head or onto the tank because it'll break you. It'll cause serious damage. And so I was a dive master, and the instructor was brought the last people up on the line. You know, it's kind of, you kind of get spread out on the line. You don't exactly go up as a group. And I was the first one up on the line, and I waited, and I did my, I did my deco stop, and then I was waiting for a bunch of people to go, and we had enough people, and I was like, all right, let's go up, and I was like, let's go away from the rope, right? Usually I take people out, like to the side, and we come up on the side of the boat, right? It's nothing. It's 3 meters. It's 4 meters of swimming up, and one person let go of the rope and didn't swim towards me.
So the current took him to the boat.
Current took him, and they were going up, and they were still looking at me. But so I'm seeing this person, and I went like, grabbed their BCD, and I had, my BCD was empty, and I just go as the boat was coming down, and the boat was like here to me. The boat almost hit my head, and I swear it was an inch. It's like 2 centimeters away from their tank, and if it would have hit the tank, you know how much pain that is to get hit. If you, I mean, I can't even imagine. And that's kind of like going back to how boats are dangerous. Boats
If you
are
don't have
like,
experience in diving, go diving with a dive master or instructor. It will save your day, if not your life.
yeah, I mean, look, I was cleaning barnacles off of a boat, and usually what happens is we take a lock, right? We put it on the throttle, right? We put a lock on the throttle. It was a big boat, and they do a prop check every 3 hours, right, to make sure that nothing got entangled in the prop. So they go boom, like this once every 3 hours. And I happened to be under the boat, and the guy took the lock off, just broke it off, and goes like this, and just hits it because the timer went off, and he's used to, when the timer goes, you do you give an engine check. And I was under the boat. And all of a sudden, I see and I hear the props going, like, I'm doing barnacles, right? And boom, I got, it has so much force. Thankfully, by the time that I almost hit the prop,
He stopped spinning.
it didn't spin, it wasn't spinning, but it was like, I saw the prop right next to my face, and I came out, and the captain almost killed the guy. I almost killed the guy. I came out of the water, and I was like, I am done with you guys. I'm not finishing this work. Give me my money. And I want to throw this guy overboard and drown him in the water.
Sea is
Let me do it.
dangerous.
Man, diving can be dangerous. Yeah. Well, Mr. Hammer, thank you so
Time's
much for
up.
taking the time. Yeah, I think we talked enough bad things for today. We'll talk next time.
Okay, see you.
Bye.